leave that there.
Hello, my name's Rob Davis and this is Nancy
Jordan.
And she's came in today to help me with my research and my promotional video for I have an ability, not a disability, and I have certain amount of questions that I'm going to ask her today, and I'm going to ask her to give her insight on how she lives her life on a day-to-day basis with her disability. So question one is, how do you think other people perceive you?
Wow. I think some people have said that I'm always happy, always smiling, and some people I know think that I kind of make light of my disability because of that.
Right.
Some people pity me. Some people kind of look away and think, oh no, the wheelchair's too much for me, I don't want to get involved with that. And depending on whether I've got my bit of lippy on and a skirt and all dressed up, I have no right to look like that.
Really?
That's the look I get, yeah.
So how does that make you feel?
That particular last one, not good. There's an indignant part of me that just washes it off.
Does it affect you in any sort of way emotionally?
Sometimes. Sometimes. If it's accompanied by some other non-verbal stuff, like visibly turning away or moving themselves completely away from me, or you know, laughing with the friend.
Is that what you perceive it as, or is that actually fact?
Could be. I was just going to say that it could just be that's how they're coming across to me.
Right. Okay.
But my husband has seen it as well when he's pushed me if we've gone out somewhere to a fancy function for his work, and he's in his dinner jacket, and it's almost, oh, poor thing, he's got to put up with her like that.
Which is slightly opposite, because he totally loves you and he's married to you for how many years, isn't he?
25.
Wow, well there you go. Question 2. Can you tell me about a time in your life when someone has treated you differently because of your disability, and was this positive or negative? Okay. Which we sort of dealt with, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, I could tell you about this chap in Waitrose who is extremely friendly, only a young chap, he can't be more than early 20s. And he, as soon as he sees me coming, he will take, because I just put the basket on top of my lap, and he will say, right, come on then sunshine, where are we going? What do you need? What do you need? Because everything's always on the top shelf that I want. Does he want his Yorkshire puddings today? Does he want his this? Because I do all the cooking.
Yeah.
And he has got to know me so well that he knows almost my shopping list. And today he did exactly that. And he said, right, come on then, got your list. He said, right, you need this, 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 this and this. And he just whisked me around.
Now, would you get the same response if you went into any other supermarket?
Unlikely. Because I'm not known there. Right, okay. I might do. I mean, this particular supermarket, other supermarkets are available. Yeah. But that one is well known for its service.
Right, okay.
The other ones, I have asked for help, and it's, oh, I don't know, you know, one of them will be, I don't know, we'll have to wait, you know, have you got anyone, or I'll have to take someone off a till. And
that
then
makes you feel uncomfortable?
You feel wretched then. You just feel, here we go, I'm a problem again. Yeah. So you're constantly then having to apologise to that person.
Because then you sort of feel, are they doing it because they're doing it, it's their job, or are they doing it because they're being made to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't feel that in a particular place where you shop all the time?
In this one place where I'm familiar. And then also, because I have to get cash, got that, went to another place. There's only one place. They see me coming round, I went to get petrol. They see me coming round in the car, and they will come out now. They've got so used to me. I changed my card and all that one, but they've got so used to me, and they will just come out and they fill up, take the cash, bring back everything that I need, and they'll even, you know, like today I said, can I have a bar of chocolate or something? Fetch it back.
Wow.
That is exactly, that's wow. But if you went to some of the others...
Like, for instance, Aldi.
Exactly, you're just expected to do it on your own.
It's a shame, isn't it? But do you think then it's about, obviously you shop Waitrose, it's a high quality sort of place, there's no denying that. I mean, and obviously they go that little bit further because obviously the products in there are that a little bit more expensive. Do you feel that comes because they're doing that because they want to help you as a person and they've built that relationship with you, or do you think they do that because of the fact of what Waitrose is all about?
Interesting. I think a lot of them, I don't know if they've got any of that in their training, about being especially helpful to people with disabilities, because without a fault, any of them, if I go on the tills, they'll jump off the till, they'll come and they'll take the basket and unload it, and others they'll take it to the car, they'll put the wheelchair in the car. But the hang on, where was I going with that one? Yeah, the guy said this morning, the one that's so helpful to me, I said, are you this helpful to everybody? Knowing that I was going to answer a few questions, and he said, no, he said, it depends on the attitude of the person.
Brilliant.
And he said, some people in a chair will be so kind of miserable and push their way into people and expect this, that and the other. He said, you are the complete opposite. I said, oh.
That must have been nice.
That was, and that made me feel good.
Right, question 3.
Yeah.
Have you ever used your disability to give you an advantage or to live day by day on a daily basis? That makes sense? Maybe I haven't made sense.
Yeah, how it's almost like, yes, I can see what you mean. No, because I expect people to treat me as an equal.
Right.
Like if I wanted to come in here and do some training with somebody, then I would expect them to see me as the trainer.
Yeah.
And I would be qualified in that. So therefore I give others that same amount of respect. And I think it's about equalness. I think it's because I respect you for what you are and who you are and what you do. It's like you see some people with their scooters driving around town and they'll mow people down. Yeah. Well, when I'm in my electric wheelchair, I will say, no, after you. What after you? And then people are really quite shocked by that. Yeah. That I would say, you know, you're just as important as I am. I'm no different to you.
So, for instance, when we were coming into this building today, there was a guy who opened the door for us. Yes. Which was nice for us. I thought that was lovely. So, do you see that, do you think they do that because of your disability, or do you think they're doing that because they're just being polite?
That's an interesting question. I think it's obvious that I've got a disability with a wheelchair. Yeah. So I think people have probably got an idea of what a wheelchair life is like. Yes. They've got their own idea of it. Yeah. So they think, oh crikey, this must be awful. So they do probably just try and help. Yeah. I would imagine. And again, I wouldn't just take that for granted. Brilliant. I would expect to be able to do that myself with the push button on the wall, and I can. But if if someone wanted to do it, instead of snapping at them, which I have seen people do.
Sometimes some people think when they see people in a wheelchair that they're not able to do anything.
Yes. And some people will then go ahead and do it anyway without asking, do you want me to do it? Yeah. I mean, that guy was just a kind of, oh, well, I'm going past, I'll hit it, which was fine. Yeah. But it's like some people in a wheelchair would say, it's all right, I could have done it.
So you don't see that, when people do that sort of thing, some other people in disabilities and that may see that as like, well, okay, I'm in a wheelchair, it doesn't mean I can't open a door for myself. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, you don't feel that way. You feel it's just someone just open a door for you because they're just being polite.
Yeah, just being kind and thoughtful.
Okay, that's really brilliant.
Yeah.
Question 4. Do you feel you are treated differently because of your disability? And you've given some examples, so we can avoid that question if you want, unless you've got another.
Yes, definitely. I think I'm different. I feel I am treated differently. I get more lovey, darling, sweetheart, alright, sweetie, and all that kind of stuff. I get more of that.
When we met in the church, you told me about when people talk down to you.
Oh, yes.
And when they're talking down to you, you feel like a little girl, is that right?
Yes, yes.
But when people are sitting down talking to you like now, you feel equal.
Exactly.
Could you elaborate on that?
It's all about eye contact.
Right.
And because you've got a chair, you're on the same level as me.
Yeah.
And therefore my chair becomes just a normal chair.
Yeah.
Just because I've got a space here. If there was no space for me, if you hadn't taken a chair out, I would have been right almost on your lap, and then that wouldn't have felt good. But because people are would often talk down to me, that is what what are people that you talk down to? Are little children.
Yeah. And you feel that because it takes you back to a memory? Do you feel like that because that's how you perceive it? Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do. I have an electric wheelchair that actually you can push a button and it raises me up to eye level to somebody standing, and they're completely different. It's completely different. Right. It's because I can't be patted on the head when I'm standing, or my standing. Yeah. And I can't be, patted on the shoulder or anything like that, then they just talk to me like normal.
Okay.
And it is very different. Some people talk to me they won't talk to me as they would somebody else, like, oh, there's this going on or that going on. It's almost as if they don't want to bother me or include me because I've got enough to worry about. That's how I come across anyway. Interesting.
Question 5.
Yeah.
Do people treat you differently once they get to know you?
Yes. Yes. Everybody that gets to know me, and everybody who is a real friend, and all the majority of people in my church that I go to, I'm a fully believing Christian, and they all say they don't even see the chair. They just see me. That's
brilliant.
So
that's really good. There's 2 questions in one here. So describe what it's like for you on a bad day.
Bad day. I can be tearful, on and off all day. A bad day for me would be I'm useless. I've got absolutely no power in my legs, my arms. I'm useless. And then I'll go and cook dinner. But I'll still think I'm useless, because that's the mindset that I've got myself into.
So would you say that's more like a wave of depression?
It probably is, yeah.
Or
a very minor form of it.
As you talk that you went to church, or do you see that as an attack?
It could be. It could be an attack, actually. But I tend, in its severest forms, if I really, really was down for a long time, then yes, I guess it could be an attack. But I don't, on the whole, I feel it's more a flesh thing. It's more a kind of human nature. I just feel, I'm not good enough.
And a good day?
And a good day is pretty much like today. People meet me in the car park before I expect them to, like the guy again at Waitrose, or, I'm fine.
Okay.
And it's not about being happy either. And it's not about, my disability is no different today than it was yesterday.
Yeah. It's just your mindset.
Yeah, it's my attitude to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, question, we're on another question now. Yeah. What abilities do you feel you bring to the world, and how do you see yourself?
Wow. Well, I I know people find me very approachable and easy to talk to. I hope I'm a good listener, and I do. Thank you. I do have a lot of friends that love to spend time with me. So much so, sometimes I have to say, "Whoa, hold the phone. I can't do it. I need time for me to rest." You know, people have to almost book in to see me, which is lovely. So obviously I'm doing something right there. I do all the housekeeping stuff at home independently with my Waitrose helpers and my Sainsbury's helpers.
Absolutely.
With all my network of people around me, I can be independent. But if you take all that network away, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Okay, next question.
Yeah.
Is the opinion of others about your disability important to you?
Not really, no.
That's good, that's great. Well, that was an easy answer, wasn't it?
Yes, that was.
Are you happy in your own way as you are today?
Happy as in?
As in the way you are today,
Yes.
are you happy with that? Are you happy with you?
With myself?
Yeah, with yourself, sorry.
If
you could change it, if you could be anyone else.
Oh right, oh I see. No, I don't think so, because I am a Christian, I do believe that, well, I know, it's not just believe, God knows that I am here in 2014 talking to Rob Davis. I have a disability, I use a wheelchair. He knows all that. He knew that that was going to be happening.
Yeah.
And he knows that I have to face things, you know, from a wheelchair perspective. Yeah. I used to suffer with depression, funnily enough. But I do believe the Lord has healed me from that.
Okay.
Marvellously. But I know, because in Scripture it tells me, that His strength is made perfect in my weakness.
Right.
And I am able to do things from my wheelchair that I don't know that I would necessarily be able to do if I was able-bodied.
Yeah. Well, that rolls on to the next question.
Yeah.
Then. If you could lose your disability, would you choose to do this? And would it change you as a person?
Yeah, it does lead on to that one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it would change you as a person, because I don't know how you would then cope with having lived as somebody as a with a disability and then being completely healed. I don't know how you live with that. What it would do to your head is what I mean, because you'd have to learn a whole new skill set. I mean, I've lived in a wheelchair now mostly in a wheelchair for about 8 years. I haven't always had to struggle like this, so I do know what it's like to be not disabled. And yes, I would love to be able to run up a mountain. I would love to.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Next two questions. Well, do you see yourself with an ability or with a disability?
No, I do see it as a disability. Probably because the world tells me it is.
Do you see it with a disability, with your disability that you've got? Do you think it gives you more of an ability to see things differently? Definitely. So in a way, it's the same. It's a two answer, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, because you couldn't even imagine what my world is like.
No.
You just couldn't. Nobody can. My husband lives with me, and he's there most nights and weekends. He's got his idea of what my life is like, but even he is surprised by some of the things I say, because he's just not, he can't live in my shoes.
Well, I would like to say to you, thank you for your time, for coming here today, answering these questions. But I see you as a person who's got lots of different abilities and lots of experience. You've got lots of strength, and I think it's been a pleasure seeing you here today. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, and you're very welcome.
Thank you. As you can see, Nancy's now getting in her car from her wheelchair. This is how she does it, straight in there. And do you find this difficult if you were doing this on your own?
I could never put this away.
Really?
It would have to be somebody else.
And would that be someone you would just shout out into the street to at times?
It would mean I don't go places
unless someone could do that.
Beat me or put it away.
Wow.
Exactly, that's how restrictive it is. You know, people seem to think, oh yes, you can do anything, but it's not as easy as that, because I just don't have the strength to get that
right, I see.
back in myself. So, and then once I'm in, I've got hand controls, you see, that drive the car.
Okay.
So nothing relies on my legs at all.
So it's all on the top part of the gears and stuff like this?
All I have to do really is power from there to there, which is not a lot of power to get my wheelchair in.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
Hi Jack, my name's Rob. You know who I am, you live with me. And I've got a certain amount of questions because I'm trying to do a project for West Suffolk College in my art programme, and it's about I have an ability, not a disability. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'd like you to give me your answers to how people perceive your disability. So you just answer the questions the best way you can. It's not an issue. So question 1 is how do you think other people perceive you? With your disabilities that you have, and can you tell the camera what are your disabilities?
My disabilities are epilepsy and diabetes, and I also have a learning difficulty, which is mild because I went to a special school.
And do you want to elaborate on that? What type of special, do you suffer with dyslexia or?
I used to suffer with falling behind with my work, but then when I went to this special school, they said that I was doing so well, I could go to a mainstream school.
And did you get to go to a mainstream school?
No, I stayed in the special school to help me improve much more.
So, you said you had epilepsy, yeah? What type of seizures, or what do you think comes with having that stigma as an epileptic and / diabetes type 1?
Well, you want to know what seizures I have? I don't know how they say it, but I have this, my version, I call it cross-eyed. So I look elsewhere for a couple of minutes and then I'll come back into it.
Okay. And about your diabetes, what's the situation there? What do you do? What do you have to take? How does it affect you on a day-to-day basis?
I have type 1 diabetes where I have to inject 4 times a day into either my arm, my leg, or inside my belly, and that helps me to control my sugars and make it more stable for me.
And do you keep on top of that? Have you had bad moments? Have you
I've had bad moments where I've had to go into hospital.
So
but now this...
Explain to me what happened. What occurred?
I'd been eating the wrong stuff, too sugary, but now I'm doing a carbs and calories book.
Right, okay, and has that helped?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really good. Okay, I've got question 2. Can you tell me about a time in your life when someone treated you differently because of your disability, and was this positive or negative?
I had it. Someone came to me about 2 years ago, and I took the mick out of my diabetes, saying, look at him, there's the old fat man, because he can't eat all that sugary stuff.
Is that what they said to you?
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel?
A bit upset.
Okay. And what's the positive with having your illnesses? I mean, you talk about what you eat. I'm assuming you can eat healthy things. Isn't that a positive thing?
I can eat anything, but I have to count the calories and the carbs will go into it, and then I can measure out the right insulin injections to suit my needs.
And does this affect you in the terms of your moods and sometimes the way you are with people? Do you think that gives people the negative aspect of what diabetes is about, because you sometimes... well, sort of asking you, does it sometimes make you moody? Does it sometimes make you like you're on a hyper? How does it work?
Sometimes when my sugars are low, I'm a bit moody and grouchy. And
obviously, how do you deal with that then? Who do you take it out on?
Like, I know just recently when I've been moody and I'm at home, I've been taking it out on Rob. And it's not very...
AKA me. But anyway, that's another story. Okay, question 3. Have you used your disability to give you an advantage or to live day by day on a daily basis? So you talked about... What's basically what I'm asking you is, on a day-to-day basis, do you use your disability to help you basically get what you want? What's the advantage in that? Do you see what you have as an advantage, or do you see it as it's a complete disadvantage? It stops you, like for instance, if you needed help for food, if you needed...
I see it as an advantage that when there's no food, I can ask.
Yeah. Ask who?
Like ask connections who will then phone up like the Vineyard Church for me. And Rob, who also helped me out.
And you talked about church. What does church help?
And Kingsgate Church.
Yeah.
Helps out when
you're in need, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think? And obviously you're saying you go to church. Then are you going to a church on a regular basis, or do you go just whenever it feels like?
I go to church on a regular basis, which is on a Sunday in the mornings.
And you obviously now working, so you've obviously got a balance or two of keeping fit and healthy. And would you say the people at church or at work are very supportive and they encourage you and help you to not fall into that trap of ending up in a hospital?
Yeah, I found them very supportive. Like, when I was ill a couple of times at Asda where I work, they had some lady come in, we had a talk, and now they're going to support me through with my career.
Okay.
Because I do a trolley porter job, which is a lot of energy going.
Would you want to elaborate on what type of support you got? You said you got a support worker. What do they do? Who are they?
My support worker's called Becky Marshall. She works for MenCap and she supports me within the workplace.
And has it helped?
And it's helped me quite a bit because she didn't think I would get into a job when I was signing on job seekers.
Okay. Okay, question 4. Do you feel you are treated differently because you have a disability? Give some examples. It's okay if you don't have none.
I don't have none.
Okay. Do you treat people differently once they get... Sorry, repeat. Go back to that. Do people treat you differently once they get to know you?
I would say they treat me differently because they try and help me out.
Okay. So describe a bad day then to me. If you were going through a bad day, what would you say one of your bad days is?
One of my bad days is when my sugar is low and I'm at that sort of downside, a bit grumpy.
So how bad does it get before you end up going to hospital?
How it gets like, first you would start off like, your mouth would be dry.
Right.
And then you can tell that it's starting to come on and you go into the toilet a lot.
Okay.
You feel a little bit lethargic. and that's when you start to know about it. And when I had my last one, I knew it was coming on, so I knew what to do.
Would you say when you go to the toilet and you have a wee, or you go to the toilet and do what you do, do you basically, what's the suffering in that, if you know what I'm saying? You know, when you're having a wee and you're weeing a lot, what are the effects? How does that make you feel? Like, do you feel more thirsty? Is that why you keep weeing? What is it?
It makes you feel tired as well.
Okay. Okay, so describe a good day then. When you're healthy and you're eating and you're playing football and you're doing all those things.
A good day for me is when I'm more active, like when I'm going to work.
And what else you do on a Saturday morning?
And on a Saturday morning I play for a football team called Berrytown Wonders, which is a disability team. So
what position do you play?
I play the left wing.
Really? Are you good?
Yeah.
Good.
But we sometimes have a little joke like, Jack, we're going to leave you in left wing, but they actually say left wing in the changing rooms.
Well, they always need someone in the changing rooms to clean it up, don't they? Okay, next question. What abilities do you feel you bring to the world, and how do you see yourself?
I feel that I bring good abilities. Like one of my friends, she had diabetes, so I showed her what to do. I took her down to the pharmacy and got her tested for her blood sugar, and they said it was a bit high, and they told her not to worry about it, so it made me feel like I had a bit of a leadership role. So you're coming across to me like you're quite a caring person then, and so when you're seeing people in need and stuff, what is it you try to do? And how do you think people perceive that? Do they see you as a help? Do they see you as a hindrance? What you tell me? They see me as a help, but I know when I take it too far, sometimes I can find it a little bit annoying. Okay. Next question. In your opinion, of others about your disability, what's important to you? So what is it? In the option of, in your opinion of others about your disability, what's important to you? How would you be able to give your opinion how you see your disability? It's alright. I don't know. It's hard. Well, okay then. Next question. Are you happy in your own way today as you are? Yeah. So you wouldn't change anything? I would ask that if the most desperate thing would be is that I could get a little bit more support from the consultants at the hospital. Right. To save me going in to further life having all those complications, which I don't really want, and because I've seen what the complications are. And what are they? You can lose like the bottom half of your leg, being in one of those mobility scooters. And would you see that as a bad thing? Yeah, I would. Okay. They said to me, because you've got diabetes now, that's the best time to catch it. You can get it all sorted out before you hit that certain point. Okay, so you have two illnesses to really consider, haven't you? You've got, no, three actually. You've got your learning disability, which you're improving on, you've said. You've got your epilepsy, which is like petty malform, isn't it? Mm. Well, I've got that. And you take your medicine for that, you know, to sort of help you with your lifestyle. And you got diabetes type 1, so you've really got a lot of things to contain and to deal with on a daily basis, which is really good. Next question. If you could lose your disability, would you choose to do so?
would this change you as a person?
Don't think so.
You don't think it'd change you as a person if you woke up tomorrow and you had no epilepsy and you had no disability? Do you think you are who you are because of it?
Well, I know that I still have it because it runs in the family.
Okay. So my next question is, do you see yourself as able or disabled?
Able.
Good. And why do you think that?
Because I know I can do most things that people can do.
If you live correctly?
Yeah.
Well, I see your abilities not as a disability, but built through experience and endurance and strength. And I want to tell you that you have an ability, not a disability. I'd like to thank you, Jack, for your time and your effort tonight, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Hi, my name's Rob and I go to West Suffolk College, and I'm doing a project at the moment on advertising and promoting about people who've got a disability, but I'm looking at it as an ability. And this is Tracy. And I'd like to say hello, Tracy, how are you today?
Hello Rob, I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Okay. Now, question one is, how do you think other people perceive you with your illnesses? How do they perceive it? How do they think, and how do they see it as it is? Do they understand it?
Well, I've got chronic fatigue and I've got fibromyalgia. So on the outside you can't see what's wrong with me at all. Unless I'm having a very bad day, I might look a bit tired, I might walk a bit slowly. If you watch me sit down, I might struggle to sit down or get up again from a chair. So how do others perceive me? Often, even if I've got no makeup on and look tired, they perceive me because I'm walking, or even if I'm walking slowly as well.
Okay. So do you think people, because they don't understand what it is, do people perceive it as, oh, you're just feeling lazy or being lazy? Do you think that's how people perceive it?
Some people do. I think people struggle with like chronic fatigue and sort of syndromes that you can't see, because although I should explain, chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia affect the whole body, and they affect cognitive, so the mind, they can affect the eyes, the speech, all the joints, muscles, and then all sorts of things like stomach, digestion. They're different illnesses, but they both cause fatigue. They both can cause pain, muscle tremors, stiffness. So I think some people used to think that chronic fatigue syndrome, particularly as it first started off being called yuppie flu, was just laziness. But for them it was sort of burnout, because you can get it from lots of different ways.
And how did you, can you tell me how it came about, how you got it?
I was working as a social worker in child protection, and also as a counsellor, and I started to feel unwell and wasn't sure what was going on, but thought didn't feel right at all. And it was coming up to Christmas, and I got all my files done and everything up to date, and then I didn't actually return back to work again. I just kind of crashed. When they ran some tests, they found that I'd had glandular fever, which hadn't been diagnosed. So the combination of having glandular fever and the type of work that I did was what caused it. But I was bedridden for at least well over a year. I had to use a wheelchair. I had friends that used to have to brush my teeth. I couldn't do anything at all. They did all the cooking, cleaning, everything. So everything was hard work. Even making a cup of tea, it was all like that.
Wow. Well, question two. Can you tell me about a time in your life when someone treated you differently because of your disability, and was this positive or negative?
Because I tend to find that I'm treated the same, because people's perception is that I'm a well person when they first look at me. Being treated the same as everyone else actually is a disadvantage. It's one of the frustrations with people that have chronic fatigue syndrome. So, because people judge you first, and so, ask the question again.
Can you tell me about the time in your life when someone has treated you differently because of your disability, and was this positive or negative?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've really had. It's interesting. I haven't had been treated differently because of it. If anything, with this particular illness, it's the opposite. So you wish people would treat you differently. So would take into consideration that you can't really stand, that you need to sitting, that everything's uncomfortable, that I'm in constant pain because mainly the fibromyalgia. I have to take opiate drugs for that. So it's kind of the other way around, interestingly enough. I wish I haven't really been treated differently. If anything, because I look normal, people expect the same of me as everybody else, which that's the disadvantage. Okay,
good answer. Question 3. Have you used your disability to give you an advantage to live your life on a day-to-day basis?
Generally, no.
I mean, obviously your equipment that you use.
I was going to say, there's things that are an advantage, so I get equipment in the house, so things that help.
For your car?
I've also got a blue badge, so I can get some free parking, so sometimes that's an advantage. And there's a few advantages of having an illness, in as much as you get extra support. I've had extra support financially with putting my son through nursery, for example. So I have had, there are a few positives.
Do you find that difficult? But because obviously when you go to places on days out and stuff like that, and you can get a concession, you know, have you ever had that experience where you've gone somewhere and they've looked at you and they can't put 2 and 2 together?
Yeah.
And they, in their mind, they perceive you, oh, you must be in a wheelchair because you've got a disability. How does that make you feel?
It's the same, really. So I often get out of my car in a blue badge zone and people look at me, and because I physically can stand on my own 2 feet, then they make a judgment. I've got used to that because I've had this illness. I've had chronic fatigue syndrome now for 12 years, and I'm a single mum, so I have had to keep going. But there's several occasions where really I need to rest. I need to just lay down, but I can't because I'm a mum. So I would have been probably in a wheelchair on several occasions, but when you're on your own, that's not actually even possible. So before, I was not a mum and people just pushed me around.
So when you parked in a car park place and those people looked at you, did you ever feel like you needed to justify yourself to them?
You feel like it, but I don't. Okay. I have been asked in a couple of times, but and I just told them.
Okay. Question 4. Do you feel you are treated differently because of your disability, and could you give some examples? And I think you've answered that question, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't think I am treated differently, really, which is the problem.
Yeah.
And I think if people's perception wasn't just disability wheelchair, although again it's a different. You have a different experience. I've been in a wheelchair, but obviously I've been able to get out of it as well. So I do think, in terms of, you can also be in a wheelchair and be a well person but not have the use of your legs, whereas my whole body is affected by my illness. Eating, even hearing speech. If I'm tired, I forget words. Well, I'm tired all the time, so it's kind of like having a bad bout of flu every day of your life.
Right.
So
that must be hard. Question 5. Do people treat you differently once they get to know you?
When people get to know me, they have to know me quite a while, or be quite understanding, or know what the illness is. Then I do get treated differently, but it takes a while sometimes for that to get through. And there's probably a lot of people that know me now and have actually seen me for a couple of years, but they probably don't even realise that I've got a long-term chronic illness. But when I'm treated differently, it's actually a pleasure. So if people are considerate about things, that really helps, or don't overpressure me or load me down with things I need to do. So that's a positive.
Okay, then, so could you describe a good day? A good day. No, yeah, a good day, and then we'll go on to a bad day.
A good day is probably a day like today, where for once I woke up, because often with ME, although you're tired all the time, you don't have refreshing sleep. ME is another word for chronic fatigue syndrome. So, I wake up, I'm in a lot of pain and very stiff from actually just being asleep in one particular position. So feeling very rough in the morning, and so after that everything's hard work.
That's a bad day, yeah?
Yeah, getting...
So can you tell me, Tracy, can you describe a bad day to me?
A bad day. A bad day is waking up in pain, feeling completely exhausted because you don't have refreshing sleep with ME, and being very stiff and finding it very hard to actually move, and kind of having a fogginess in your brain, headachy fogginess that's there a lot of the time anyway, and really needing to just stay laying down all day in a dark room because the light affects you and sounds affect, and just to rest, because you do have to rest a lot with ME. Everything affects you, all kind of activities. So a bad day is not getting anything done and actually not really being well enough to. And that might not just be for a day. Often they come in banks, so they could be a couple of weeks, and that might be just because I've emptied a cupboard. I found the energy to empty a cupboard one day, so I could do that one day and then be exhausted for a week or more afterwards. So that's a bad day. Lots of pain in my hands, particularly. And just feeling like you can't cope, but feeling totally and utterly exhausted all day.
So what's a good day then?
A good day is like today. So I'm now feeling very, very tired. It's starting to come on quite strongly. But being able to get up, feeling a little bit more refreshed with sleep, not being quite so stiff, being able to get up, get washed, do the things you need to do in the morning. I've driven over to the school, I've popped into the doctor's, I've come home, I've made myself breakfast, I've even made sure the bin's emptied and done a bit of tidying up. So, but on an ME chronic fatigue basis, that's too much. So you have to do things in little tiny bits. So like 2 minutes of exercise, and that's anything, as in that might be, emptying the dishwasher or washing up. So 2 or 3 minutes rest. And that's what the whole day is meant to look like. So today's a good day because I've got some stuff done, but now I'm tired because I've done it all.
So can you tell me then, what abilities do you feel you bring to the world, and how do you see yourself?
I don't see myself as someone with a disability. I've had it for a long time, and then the fibromyalgia was diagnosed 5 years ago, and I do have other illnesses as well. So, but I don't kind of perceive myself like that, but I don't have, yes, I'm a mum, a single mum, and but I don't really, all I have the energy for is to raise him, and obviously I'm on my own during the daytime, to get bits and pieces done, and then I go to bed at the same time as him, so by 8:30 I'm normally asleep, and that's just how the day has to go all the time. I used to be a professional person, I'm a qualified social worker, I'm a qualified counsellor, I did a lot of work with other people, with people that were in need. I used to run a book group, so enjoy swimming. I've always been someone who likes my time on my own, but so my life is seriously hindered by what's wrong with me. I'd like to feel well one day, but I don't see myself as somebody who's disabled, but I am, and that's how I've learned to live my life. So that's kind of my life. It's kind of how I've had to accept that.
Is the opinion of others about your disability important to you?
Not really, only those close to me. So in terms of people on the external, no, it isn't. So they think what they think, or they, you know, so there's a lack of understanding. But people close to me need to understand, because obviously it affects my day-to-day, hour to hour, the way I am, you know, mood as well, pain. So those close to me do need to understand, so that's important.
Are you happy in your own way today as you are?
I'm not unhappy. There's things I'd like to achieve. So even small things, like I'd like to be able to clean my own house, or do my own decorating, which I always used to do. I'm a creative person. To be able to read a chapter in a book and not feel exhausted. So I'm not unhappy. Do I feel happy? Life is not what I would want it to look like. But and some days I do feel very unhappy about it. But you have to also learn to accept what you can do.
If you could lose your disability, would you choose to do this? Would it change you as a person?
Oh gosh, yes, definitely. If I could lose it tomorrow, then yes, I would. I think maybe there was a time when, a long time ago, years ago, where I thought it kind of became something I hid behind a little bit. But now it's just a frustration. I want to be able to be more active, to get healthier, to get fitter, to, you know, go to book groups, run groups, do things in the community, help the church, those sorts of things. And, you know, and I'm not able to do that. Life has to be around just, you know, my energies and are to look after my son, and there isn't anything else left after that.
Do you see yourself as abled or disabled?
I think I'm still an able person, but my way of being able is very different, and I don't have the energy to see things through often. So I am disabled, definitely, completely, and in every way. But there's little glimmers where I have, you know, it might be just talking to someone and achieving that, or just that my expectations have had to change. So what I achieve are smaller things. So but I don't kind of carry around I'm a disabled person, so I can't do anything. And my goal is at the moment to be a good mum and to do the best I can for that, which is important.
Well, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to see. I see your abilities, not your disabilities, beat through experience, endurance, and strength.
Thank you.
Thank you, and it's been a pleasure, and I'll send you the DVD. Bye.
Justice and your mercy, heaven walked the broken road, here to fight the sinner's battle, here to make my fault your own. Turn my eyes to see your face, all my fears surrender. Hold my heart within this grace, a burden turns to wonder. And I will